Hello, boxing fans around the world. Thank you for joining us on Talk and Fight once again for another episode of Boxing News Today. Coming at you Monday to Friday, 1 o'clock Eastern Standard Time. Radio, let's go on to the headlines, courtesy of our friends at boxing247.com across the pond. However, a quick item I want to mention before we head off to the actual news, seeing this is kind of news, but it's pretty recent. Tszyu forced 12 rounds by Takashi Inoue, but still delivers major statement about world title hopes. Yes, this comes courtesy of Sky Sports. Tszyu battered Takashi Inoue in one-sided demonstration that he is ready for the world title scene on Wednesday in Australia. Tszyu knocked Inoue down for the only time in the 12th round, but was forced to settle for a comfortable unanimous decision victory. Congratulations to Tim. Let's see. Elsewhere, we see that on the weekend, Musa Yamak defeated Tszyu Huliakevich for the WBF International title. Something I neglected to mention. In a fight that took place in Garching, Germany, vacant WBF International Light Heavyweight title was up for grabs. Musa Yamak won the vacant WBF International Light Heavyweight title on Saturday night. This past Saturday, that is, in Garching, Germany, just outside of Munich. The 38-year-old local man defeated Tszyu Huliakevich by technical knockout when the Belarusian suffered an injured elbow and didn't come out for the round number 8. Congratulations to Musa. In other fight news, we see that Asa Stevens went toe-to-toe against Felix Vasquez, and he remains undefeated and picked up his first stoppage win as he took out Vasquez in the opening round of their scheduled 4-round super bantamweight fight that took place in the Honda Center in Anaheim, California, this past weekend, Saturday night as well. No, that can't be right. It says here took place on 13th of December, but that's wrong. It took place on the 13th of November. Anyway, Stevens was dominant as he hurt Vasquez with a combination that was started by an uppercut. With Vasquez hurt, Stevens wasted no time, landing a hard flurry of punches before the fight was stopped at 1 minute and 59 seconds of the first round. Stevens, who was managed by split team management, is now 2-0 with one knockout. Asa of Hawaii was both a national and world amateur champion and is promoted by Golden Boy Promotions. Deshaun Johns faces Danny Mitchell in Springfield on November 22nd, an upcoming fight we're going to mention here. Taking place at the Mass Mutual Center in Springfield, USA. Bronx native Deshaun Johns is a 31-year-old professional boxer and businessman, owner of a 4-1 record in the ring and his own gym with 3 locations in the tri-state area. As he continues to balance 2 professions in addition to his family life, the super lightweight southpaw makes his long-awaited debut with CES Boxing next Saturday night on November 27th when he battles Pittsburgh's Danny Mitchell, who's 5-4-1 with 2 knockouts, in a 6-round bout at the Mass Mutual Center. To fully understand how Johns, who's 4-1 with 3 knockouts, has grown, it's important to understand where he came from. Johns lived most of his childhood without his father and grew up in a house of 4 siblings, some of whom were stepbrothers, so he's often forced to defend himself. Bullied in school, Johns turned to the streets and found himself running with gangs as a teenager. That lifestyle came to a grinding halt one night at the age of 15 when someone pointed a gun at his stomach as he walked into a deli in Brooklyn. I really don't know if I'd make it out or not, John said. After that, I knew I had to get away and make a change. I got out just in time. Like many fighters before him, Johns decided the best way to channel his aggression was through boxing. He began his new journey at 17 years of age, which is late in comparison to some of the sport's elite fighters, but still took his time, starting out by learning the basic footwork before he even put on a pair of gloves. He says, I didn't even know how to throw a punch when I started, and that changed quickly. Under the guidance of Coach Understanding Allah at the renowned John's Boxing Gym in the South Bronx, Johns fine-tuned his craft and soon began a productive amateur career in which he won the title national championships in Arkansas in 2016 and advanced to the semifinals and finals of the New York Daily News Golden Gloves tournament in 2016 and 2017, respectively, losing to former Olympian and current 12-0 pro Richardson Hitchens in the 2016 semis. With a deep amateur background behind him, Johns decided to turn pro in 2018. And we look forward to hearing more about Mr. Johns and his career. BCB Promotions announced their final show of 2021, featuring Kane Baker, who's going toe-to-toe against James Beach Jr. A stacked December sees us at the Holiday Inn in Birmingham City Centre on December 2nd. Park Inn Northampton on the 8th, the Hangar in Wolverhampton on the 12th, and H Street Birmingham on the 17th. And they're delighted to confirm their new venue in Warsaw as we all take professional boxing to the Hub in Warsaw College on September 19th of December. Woo! Birmingham Super Featherweight Kane Baker and Walsall Super Bantamweight James Beach Jr. topped the Hub bill Jingle Brawls. Baker has fought twice in quick succession and will be looking to make his hat trick of victories to close off a prosperous 2021. Beach put the disappointment of defeat to Chris Bourke for the WBC International Super Super Bantamweight title firmly behind him when he returned to winning ways with an emphatic points victory over Dean Jones in December. And like stablemate Baker, the Bloxwich boxer will be looking to finish the year on a high. Elsewhere, we see that Sampson Boxing has signed super lightweight Shinard Bunch. Sampson Likowitz of Sampson Boxing proudly announces the signing of talented super lightweight prospect Shinard Bunch to a long-term co-promotional contract. Congratulations to Mr. Bunch. Elsewhere, courtesy of Sky Sports, Chris Eubank Jr. and Liam Williams offer no respect ahead of grudge fight. Either he will quit or get knocked out. I believe that quote is courtesy of Chris Eubank Jr. We're about to square off in Cardiff on December 11th. Respect is definitely not a word I would use for my feelings towards Liam, Eubank Jr. said before an intense face-to-face. He has said a lot of reckless things online. It doesn't sit well with me. This is a grudge match, a genuine domestic rivalry. It is personal. He has made it personal. He has come here today and tried to talk about respect. He's gone too far past that now. He will pay for what he has said. He will get embarrassed, says Eubank. Elsewhere, we see that Tyson Fury's preference is to fight Alexander Usyk, not Dillian Whyte, says promoter Bob Arum. Tyson Fury would prefer to face Alexander Usyk rather than Dillian Whyte, promoter Bob Arum has revealed, to finally become the undisputed heavyweight champion. The WBC did not officially order a mandatory challenger to Fury's title at their annual convention on Tuesday night. They had been expected to grant Whyte a shot and end his lengthy wait. IBF, WBA, and WBO champion Usyk is set for a rematch next year with Anthony Joshua, who triggered his option for an immediate second fight. Top-ranked promoter Arum, who promotes Fury in the U.S., told Sky Sports why his mandatory challenger was not named. He says Whyte's people had brought an arbitration proceeding against the WBC. The WBC said they would not grant Whyte a mandatory position while the arbitration is pending. That was appropriate. Fury may end up fighting Whyte, we'll see, but it won't be with the requirement of the WBC, says Bob Arum. Elsewhere, we see that Saul Canelo Alvarez is set to challenge Yolonga Makuba for the WBC Cruiserweight title in a bid to conquer a fifth division. Saul Canelo Alvarez will challenge WBC Cruiserweight champion Yolonga Makuba in a stunning attempt to become a 5-division title holder. The WBC approved his request to move up 2 divisions into a new weight category for a shot at the title in May or June at their annual convention on Tuesday night. The WBC has approved unanimously Canelo to fight for the WBC Cruiserweight Championship of the world, said President Mauricio Suleiman. This is a surprise to me, but I'm sure he'll continue to make history. Canelo has enjoyed a remarkable year, dethroning 3 unbeaten super middleweight champions, Callum Smith, Billy Joe Saunders, and Cale Plant, to become undisputed. The Mexican has faded as the world pound-for-pound #1 fighter on the back of that accomplishment. Indeed, quite an accomplishment it is. Jake Paul says he's the best thing for boxing and believes Anthony Joshua sees him as a breath of fresh air. The hugely popular YouTuber will resume his professional boxing career with a grudge fight against Tommy Fury in Tampa on December 18th. Since his pro debut in January last year, Paul has racked up 4 victories, including 2 wins over former UFC fighters, and insists he has proved a point to his doubters. Quote, "I'm the best thing that's happened to boxing in a century, period," Paul told the Bleacher Report. "The legends would agree," he says. The Anthony Joshuas, the Mike Tysons, the Manny Pacquiaos, the Tyson Furies, they've all said what I'm doing for boxing is a breath of fresh air. I think that debate started about a year ago. Is Jake Paul good for boxing? I have silenced that. And I don't think there's anybody on the other side of the equation who thinks I'm bad for boxing. I have a foundation where we give boxing gloves to as many kids as possible. We're going around renovating boxing gyms, getting young kids inspired to box. I think this sport needed that revival. Paul remains confident that he can secure a future fight against UFC star Conor McGregor, who was defeated by Floyd Mayweather in his only boxing bout in 2017. I'll fight everybody, Paul said. This started with me calling out McGregor. People were like, oh, that kid's crazy. Now it's like that fight could happen in the next 24 months, 100%. I probably will, and I will beat him. People are seeing how serious I am about this and changing the way they think about it. Right, we'll stay tuned on Jake Paul's career. All right, thank you for joining me once again on Talk and Fight. Remember to like, share, subscribe, and send me a few comments. Always respond. And hit that notification bell to let you know when I'm coming up next.